All right, everyone. Trump is saying that he wants to expedite the process of deportation. Now, some people are criticizing this as basically removal of due process. I would say if a person is provably here, they are from another country and they're not registered as, they've got asylum, they're a lawful resident or something, there's really no due process involved anyway. It's a cut and dry situation. It's provable that they are here illegally. If you do not have the means to shelter all of these people and you're trying to restore order, when you've got 10 million illegals or some insane number, going to be kind of difficult to supply them all with a lawyer and put them all through the court system. But there's a really big but here. A really big looming potential problem if this is implemented. I'm saying, while it may be a good idea on paper, I don't know if it would work, and here's why. Not all Americans all of the time carry a form of identification. Since you do not have an e-verify system or anything like that, if you were to implement this process, so that there was no lawyering up, no court involved, it was sort of like, well, you've got no papers, we think you're here illegally, we're sending you back to your home country. There have been a handful of cases where actual U.S. citizens have been accidentally deported to foreign nations, literally dropped off on the other side of the Mexican border. That's actually happened. The problem is if you were to remove all of these other sort of legal constraints on the process of deportation, it is likely that you will accidentally deport lawful residents, people who have obtained asylum, people who are legal residents, and in some cases possibly even fully fledged citizens. That would be a big problem. And the money that you save would probably end up getting shelled out anyway in the form of having to settle legal complaints by people who were deported to Mexico despite not ever even having set foot in Mexico. I think that would be a problem. I don't think that that's a great idea. I don't think that it would work. Especially when you will have, this is true, the left is technically correct on this. In some of the border states, namely Texas and Arizona, you have a history of perhaps slightly overzealous local law enforcement working with these ICE agents, and you could have a situation where people get picked up and they have been ethnically profiled. Yeah, it has happened before. It's like, what was it? What's her name? Jan Brewer, the one, I think governor of Arizona, I believe, years ago. Sort of friends with the sheriff down there. And she was always rambling about how she could tell. I think it was her sheriff friend said he could tell who was illegal by what they were wearing for shoes, which is like, what are you talking about? So you expect that so illegals wander around with sombreros on. Okay, well then I guess it's easier in Arizona than any other fucking sane part of the country. Jan Brewer was on board with the concept of picking people up and basically harassing them for their papers constantly. It's like, you will obstruct society's peace and quiet and serenity if you're setting up borders all over within your state and constantly checking to make sure everyone who walks down the street has their fucking driver's license handy. I wouldn't want to live in such a society. Saying this, you're inconveniencing citizens too. You're also violating the right to privacy. Insofar as you are doing this, it is a little different than if you went door to door with involuntary searches for illegal immigrants hiding under people's beds, which, by the way, is something that I pointed out would be a problem if Trump actually attempted. Some of the more draconian mass deportation schemes that people were cooking up, it would cause civil war. It would cause panic among any survivalist or basically don't tread on me crowd down in. Can you imagine all the gun owners in Texas who would open fire? If someone just knocks in the door, hey, we're searching your house. No, you're not. Yes, we are. Get out of our way. Boom. That's what would end up happening. You'd have thousands of dead ICE agents. It'd be a bloodbath. By the way, the Texan citizens would probably win in the firefight most times. It would be a problem for society. There are so many easier ways to tackle this issue. Step number 1, build a wall. A physical impediment to illegal immigration will slow it down considerably. It's been done before throughout all of human history. Yes, walls work. That's why they're built. Yes, you are capable of building a wall that people are not going to be regularly scaling over because it will be 10 times harder and there will be people with guns on the wall. It is possible to actually build a border fortification. It's been done. We've been doing that anyway. There are parts of our border that are fortified. You do realize that, right? You've been to the border. It's not just all, oh yeah, there's a 5-foot chain link fence and a little dirt embankment. And that's what guards, you look. You have a mainstream Mexican presidential candidate right now. He's probably going to win. He has openly told his fans, hey, if I win, you should charge the border. Yeah, we'll weaponize the Mexican legal system. We'll help you. We'll flood the United States with millions of migrants because we consider it a human right to go wherever the hell you want, and you don't have a job here, go to the U.S. And we'll lodge all sorts of complaints if they do anything about it. Don't you think it's about time that we guard our border when our southern neighbor is going to be led by a person, a socialist, who openly proclaims migratory warfare against our country? I would think that it is. The current Mexican government's barely able to cope with the situation itself. It's a problem. It's not just people from Mexico either. Like I've said, there are several 100,000 illegal immigrants in the United States from Eastern Europe. They overstayed their tourist visa. Oh yeah, I'm going to come see this Lady Liberty. Oh, and then I'm never going to leave. That's basically what's happening. You realize there are probably tens of thousands of illegal Polish immigrants in New York City alone? It's not a joke. It's actually real. It's like when all these lefties talk about if you believe in borders and shit, you're racist. No, I don't think so. It's just that's a different kind of migration. It's slower, costs a little bit more than walking across a largely unguarded border. During the Obama years, if you walked across and did get caught, you were going to get released anyway. They didn't even bother taking any biometric data. By the way, that's a different can of worms. I'm not a fan of the idea of having everyone, oh, you need to give your iris scan and your thumb scan and be part of E-Verify or you can't have a job. It sounds a little bit like, too close to the Christians' concept of a mark of the beast or something. You can't conduct trade or anything without this special mark that says you're a citizen. Okay, that's a little bit odd. Yeah, at that point it's like, maybe the Antichrist wasn't such a good idea after all. Just joking there. I don't believe in such things. But I do believe in having a border. The problem is that eliminating the legal process involved in protecting against the possibility of deporting citizens, that's not pragmatic. There are better ways to do it. Build the wall, get more ICE agents, authorize them to actually use force to guard the border. Like right now, the ICE agents, they can't really do anything other than sort of cuff somebody and put them in a van. Let local law enforcement and private militias get involved too. Let them help. If they want to defend their states, at least they're doing something about it. It doesn't violate the Constitution. As far as I know, it's a state's right anyway to take part in such activity. It's not solely the federal government's right. The states have a right to man their borders too if they have a border along with another country. What, so only federal agents are allowed to be near the border and do any fucking thing? You know, what if someone comes across and immediately opens fire with a machine gun? Do you have to wait for ICE to show up, or can a local citizen do something? Or are they violating some sort of international law, even though it's on their own soil? Yeah, I think it's a weird situation, but there are better ways to go. Trump gets this one wrong. I don't think this particular plan would work, and also the courts would probably shoot it down. The Ninth Circuit would say, no, you can't do this. We're putting it on hold indefinitely. It'd have to go before the fucking Supreme Court. Then you have a totally different problem. It's the same as the Supreme Court when it makes a decision. It's very, very difficult to get rid of that decision. If you force them into a position where they say, yeah, the president has the right to essentially strip due process, even though some citizens might get caught up, that's as much of a problem as if they say he doesn't have that right. So, fucking build the border wall. The Democrats really need to stop obstructing that. They're gonna pay a heavy price for doing so, I'm telling you. When the majority of Americans, including at least some Democrats and most independents, support building a wall and deporting illegals, and it looks like the Democratic Party is saying, fuck rules, fuck borders, Drumpf, 2 scoops, that's not a proper campaign you're running. That's not a good position to be in. What are you thinking? Maxine Waters comes out with her spiel. What is she thinking? She's totally fucking demented. That's about all. Peace out.